Major funding for NJTV News is provided in part by the members of the New Jersey Education Association, making public schools great for every child, and PSE&G. We make things work for communities.
Tonight on NJTV News, your votes counted.
New Jersey's congressional primary results offer some hope for Democrats and at the Senate level for Republicans.
An environmental summit celebrates rebuilding Camden cleaner and greener.
6 of the state's top hospital executives give their outlook on the future of health care.
Plus, we'll show you why one town's taking measures to guard against guns in grade schools. And a teacher's retiring, but his holiday gift for vets has given his students a lesson to live by. Those stories and more next on NJTV News.
Live from the Agnes Varus NJTV studio at 2 Gateway Center in Newark, this is NJTV News with Mary Alice Williams.
Hello, thank you for joining us. New Jersey's shaping up as a political battleground in November's national election after Democrats nominated some candidates considered among the party's best bets to win in Republican strongholds, and Republicans seeing an opening to nab a Senate seat held by a Democrat. Chief Political Correspondent Michael Aaron has a rundown of the races and their implications.
When Bob Menendez voted yesterday, he probably didn't anticipate Lisa McCormick, a small newspaper owner from Rahway. She reported spending no money on her campaign and got no media coverage. And yet, last night in the Democratic primary for U.S. Senate, she got nearly 4 of every 10 Democratic votes. Here's part of a video she put together.
We need to make the changes that we want to see in our world. And it's not about money. It's about our life on this planet and the time that we're here.
Menendez made no mention of her in this video he released last night from Washington.
I want to thank people all across New Jersey for this victory, but our next challenge matters even more. Every campaign is a choice, but I believe the one this November is pretty clear because the stakes have never been higher.
Menendez talked about his record and attacked the man who won last night's Republican primary.
My opponent, greedy drug company CEO Bob Hugin, is going to have to answer for his record of driving up prices for cancer patients while making millions for himself.
In Mountainside, Hugin gave his victory speech in a room full of Republicans.
Bob Menendez thinks that New Jersey voters will blindly vote for him just because he's a Democrat. Wrong, Bob, and he's the wrong Bob.
The former CEO of Celgene Corporation said that company's drug pricing policies are entirely defensible.
Frankly, Celgene has done more good for people in the last 25 minutes than Bob Menendez has done in Washington for 25 years.
Last night's numbers showed a certain weakness in Democratic support for Menendez, says pollster Patrick Murray.
The fact that Bob Menendez barely broke 60% against a candidate who, for the vast majority of people who supported her, was just simply a name on a piece of paper. They had no idea who Lisa McCormick was. Says a lot about how unhappy some Democrats are at the choice that they were presented with.
In congressional races, Mikey Sherrill prevailed in District 11. The former Navy pilot racked up 76% of the vote in a 5-person Democratic field.
I am so honored to be your candidate. And I am so proud to declare that we are ready here in New Jersey to flip this seat and turn the 11th District blue.
On the Republican side, Assemblyman Jay Weber won with 39% of the vote to a surprisingly high 30% for Peter Deneufville and only 21% for Tony G. We asked Weber how he plans to go up against Mikey Sherrill.
We do what we've done all spring, and that is talk about issues that people care about. Maintaining and creating an opportunity society, creating jobs for Americans, keeping taxes low, cutting spending, talking about immigration in a common sense way, talking about health care in a common sense way, empowering students and parents in our education system. These are the issues that are on people's minds. It's what they talk about at the kitchen table. We'll keep talking about those issues, and we'll be fine in the fall.
In District 2, on the Democratic side, State Senator Jeff Van Drew of Cape May County won with 55% in a four-person field. He reeled off a long list of goals.
We know that we have challenges with our economy, and that while some parts of the country are doing better, still in South Jersey, we are challenged still in South Jersey. We know that we need more opportunity for the men, the women, the children, the future.
Van Drew will be favored in the fall against the surprise winner of the Republican primary, conservative Seth Grossman, who beat Hersh Singh. In District 5, Bergen County Attorney John McCann narrowly defeated well-known conservative Steve Lonegan and will take on Democratic incumbent Josh Gottheimer in the fall. In District 7, Democrat Tom Malinowski won easily and will take on incumbent Republican Leonard Lance in the fall. And in District 4, Democrat Josh Welly won the right to go up against Republican incumbent Chris Smith in the fall. Nationally, the Democrats need to pick up 24 seats to win back the House. Analysts are looking at last night's results here and elsewhere for clues as to whether that will happen.
It's still early days. I mean, we have the results from yesterday's primary suggest that Democrats are enthused. About 2/3 of the primary vote was on the Democratic side. That's a number that we've seen in the last couple of years, so it's an increasing Democratic enthusiasm, particularly in the 3 Republican-held districts where there were contested primaries on both sides. And that's in the 2nd and the 7th and the 11th. We actually saw more Democrats show up in those 3 districts than Republicans to vote in those 3 districts, and I think that's an all-time first.
So there's energy on the Democratic side in New Jersey right now, but the questionable showing by Senator Menendez against an unknown gives Republicans something to crow about as well. In Newark, I'm Michael Aaron, NJTV News.
Pollution from stormwater runoff through aging sewer lines is a $15 billion dilemma in New Jersey. The Senate Environment and Energy Committee last month approved a bill that would allow towns to set up stormwater utilities to manage the mess, but Camden has other plans. Senior correspondent David Cruz reports.
The future of Camden City will not be built of brick and mortar alone. At the 6th Camden Environmental Summit at Rutgers-Camden, rebuilding from the ground up is taken quite literally. Mayor Frank Moran was a keynote speaker.
First and foremost, Camden was an industrial city. We've done a lot of remediation over the last 25 years. Today, there is a lot of brick and mortar going up in the city of Camden, and simultaneously, we're addressing the infrastructure to control the flooding, to educate folks the importance of green and recycling and anything that has to do with improving the environment, and that's our goal.
The irony of this waterfront city is that the water can often end up everywhere, the result of an antiquated combined sewer system that the Camden Collaborative Initiative, which presented today's program, hopes to eliminate by 2020.
Because we have a combined sewer system, an old sewer system in the city of Camden, we do have a lot of instances of flooding of wastewater into our parks, into people's homes, into roadways, which really is a quality of life issue for the residents of the city.
It's a collaborative effort. It takes a village to make a great city great again, and nowhere is that more visible than with the work of the Camden Power Corps, the members of which were honored today.
We maintain rain gardens around the city. We clean the inlets in the city so that the storm water doesn't mix with the rainwater on the streets and overflood, because Camden has a lot of flooding problems. I think it's very important for young adults of Camden to take it back, because we're here right now, we're the future. So, I mean, if the younger kids see us taking heed and getting the environment together now, then maybe along the lines they'll come on and do the same thing.
Longtime Camden environmental activist Olivia Glenn was also recognized for her work in the city. She now runs the Division of Parks and Forestry at the state DEP.
When you take an investment in improving your environment, it certainly builds the gateway to be engaged civically in other matters. So I think that it is wonderful to have them involved, and I look forward to seeing a lot from them in their future.
In the end, a cleaner, greener environment is critical to a city's economic viability. Former Governor Jim Florio was the congressman who authored the Superfund legislation.
And this event today is extremely important, and it's most interesting because it seems to put the lie to the whole idea that somehow the environment and economic development can't be compatible. That's obviously not the truth. that Camden, which is going through a massive redevelopment project that is doing very much to enhance the well-being of people here, is also demonstrating environmental sensitivity.
There's still a lot here that needs cleaning up. Not all of it has to do with the natural environment. But the foundation is set here, where Camdenites are taking efforts into their own hands and doing what they can, hoping to set an example for the rest of the city to follow. In Camden, I'm David Cruz, NJTV News.
A pollution case tops tonight's business news. Standing by at the Strategic Development Group studio at the NJCU School of Business is Rhonda Schaffler. Rhonda?
Mary Alice, the U.S. Attorney's Office in New Jersey has won its case against a polluter, and Elizabeth Biodiesel Fuel Company has admitted to illegally discharging wastewater into the Arthur Kill. Fuel Bio 1 pleaded guilty to one count of violating the Clean Water Act after releasing 45,000 gallons of wastewater into the waterway during two separate occasions in 2013. Fuel Bio 1 will pay a $100,000 fine as part of its plea agreement. The state has reached a settlement with an energy supplier accused of scamming and overcharging customers during the cold winter months of 2014. The state alleged that IDT Energy switched customers' energy suppliers without their approval and lied to them about lower energy rates. As part of the agreement with the state attorney general's office, IDT will have to return $1.2 million to customers and stop its deceptive practices. New Jersey's biotech businesses are getting kudos in a new industry survey. That is according to that survey on investment and innovation in the biotech sector, which was released at a national biotech conference this week. The report showed the New Jersey biotechnology industry increased jobs by 2.6% from 2014 through 2016 and employs nearly 94,000 workers in the Garden State. And those job gains came even as employment fell in the broader pharmaceutical sector. Perhaps even more impressive, the number of life sciences and biotech patents introduced in New Jersey over the last 3 years topped 7,300, and that is more than any other state. New Jersey's bankers believe the state is in good shape, but they say that could change if Governor Phil Murphy's tax proposals are enacted. According to the New Jersey Bankers Association's annual survey, a record 10% of respondents rated the state's economy as excellent. 42% say the economy is good. Now, in comparison, 2 years ago, only 15% of the respondents said the economy was good. But if the governor imposes new taxes, 69% of the bankers believe the state's economy would weaken or decline. In theory, any laid-off worker has a far better shot of getting a new job now than ever before. For the second month in a row, the government reported there are more open positions in the U.S. economy than there are people to fill them. And the gap is growing, according to a monthly report known as the Job Openings and Labor Turnover Survey. It's commonly called the JOLT report. This year marks the first time this has ever happened since the Bureau of Labor Statistics started tracking these JOLT numbers back in 2000. But employers complain there's a skills gap and they still can't find the right people for those open jobs. The latest company to report a hacking incident is the DNA testing and genealogy service known as MyHeritage. That company revealed that email addresses were obtained during the breach, but that sensitive data, including DNA results, were stored on another server that was not compromised. On Wall Street today, stocks surged higher. The Dow rallied 346 points. And those are our top business stories.
Support for the Business Report provided by Verizon.
Lakewood's arming all its schools with metal detectors. This after a 9-year-old boy had a loaded gun on a school bus and then brought it to Oak Street Elementary School. 2 Lakewood students were charged with weapons offenses yesterday. This morning, after school officials met with Township Police to review emergency response procedures and weapons policies, they announced metal detectors already in the district's middle and high schools will be installed in all elementary schools, and all students will be required to use only transparent backpacks. Driver's ed, that tops tonight's Garden State Express. Our first stop, Haddon Heights, where high school students are experiencing the dangers of drunk and distracted driving without the risk. The Unite Corporation's Arrive Alive tour rolled in with high-tech simulators, impact videos, and virtual reality headsets that give new drivers a dose of how much damage they can cause if their attention turns to texting while driving a car. The National Safety Council reports that cell phone use while driving leads to 1.6 million crashes each year. Next to Bayonne, where the high school's culinary students got a life lesson in giving. For the past decade, Bayonne High's longtime culinary instructor, Joe Barbero, has prepared special dinners around Thanksgiving and Memorial Day for veterans with the help of his students. This Memorial Day, Mr. Barbero told the crowd of some 40 local veterans his father, Carlo, who received a Purple Heart in World War II, was his inspiration for starting the dinners. Now he's retiring. So this year, U.S. Coast Guard members stationed in Bayonne came in to help and give him and the tradition a proper send-off. Finally, Hoboken and a retirement tinged with regret. Robinson Jimenez and his brother Mario have for 3 decades kept Big Banner Supermarket open to serve the neighborhood. Against a rising tide of supermarkets and Superstorm Sandy and falling profits, they delivered to elderly shut-ins and others. But after a fire in February destroyed their attached restaurant, they've decided to call it quits. They're selling Big Banner to a developer who plans to put up condos in its place. The Jimenez brothers are selling off their remaining inventory for half the price. And that's our Garden State Express for Wednesday, June 6th. Something up in your neighborhood? Tip us off. Navigating the changing landscape of health and hospital care is often confounding for patients and even for the hospital's administrators. Brianna Venozzi reports.
During his first several months in office, Governor Murphy signed a handful of major health care laws, a controversial out-of-network bill to curb surprise medical bills, one to preserve the individual mandate under the Affordable Care Act, and reinstating funding for women's health. But if you ask 6 of the state's top health executives about the future of New Jersey's health care, they'll tell you we have a long way to go.
I think the industry is transforming at a very rapid pace. I think we're all beginning now to embrace the new technologies, the new innovations. One of them is the care transformation that we're all right now a part of.
In other words, healthcare systems need to shift their focus to a more comprehensive, holistic approach in treating patients, navigating them through the system more efficiently. And that can't happen without serious changes in addressing costs.
We're going to have an open and hard discussion about changing the payment system, right? Making it more transparent. Because today, it's transactional, it's fee-for-service. Volume is a good thing. The more you do, the more you get paid.
The head of Holy Name Medical Center says there's a severe lack of transparency and affordability in the system, meaning the requirements for something like a hip procedure doesn't change from hospital to hospital, but the price you pay and when you're made aware of it almost always does.
That's going to really mean disrupting some of the existing power brokers in the system that exist, whether the large systems on the providers or the large payers on the payer side. And the only people who can really disrupt them are the large employers and the government.
The key is to align all of the stakeholders. Incentives for physicians, for hospitals, for insurers, purchasers of health care, patients. There has to be shared accountability.
It also means making patients active participants in their health care and forging more partnerships, which may or may not mean more mergers.
There are mergers for different reasons. There are mergers to be able to negotiate better with payers. There are mergers that actually use economies of scale to improve the care they're delivering to patients and integrate the care better along the continuum of care.
I know Trenton, there's been several pieces of legislation that have been signed, the out-of-network bill being one, that, again, the attempt is to make it more user-friendly, more transparent, and I think that's a good goal. And I think we're on that road, and I think it helps everybody.
So the future of healthcare will rely on technology, greater transparency, and the need for consumers to voice their demands. In Rutherford, Brianna Venozzi, NJTV News.
The 49 hospitals that provide maternity services have agreed to target the state's unusually high rates of C-section deliveries, which can put both mother and baby at risk. Leah Mishkin reports.
A new Leapfrog report shows New Jersey hospitals are performing too many C-sections. They're in the bottom 5 states in the country in terms of meeting recommended standards.
For pregnant women, it's hard because we want to listen to our healthcare providers and trust them. But we also need to the extent we can, arm ourselves with data, like looking at the Leapfrog safety information.
The report looked at NTSV cesarean birth rates, meaning first-time mothers with a single baby at term in the head-down position. We're told this is the population least likely to need a C-section, but the report shows only 9 out of 47 hospitals in New Jersey met the C-section standard rate of no more than 23.9%. The best on the list was Christ Hospital in Jersey City, who reported the lowest C-section rate at 14%. Central State Medical Center in Freehold, on the other hand, performed the highest number of C-sections in the state at 42.1%, far above the recommended standard. Centra State did give us a statement saying the hospital is, quote, working with our physicians and clinicians on improving processes to lower the number of C-sections performed.
The hospitals that are doing well on this measure, they have weekly huddles. They go over every single C-section in the hospital and they discuss, was this appropriate?
Leapfrog Director of Operations Erica Mobley also stressed while there are times when a C-section is necessary and critical to protect the health of both mother and child, in general, it's being used too often for non-medical related reasons, putting everyone at risk.
Including potential risk of wound rupture, risk of infection, any number of things that can go wrong during a surgical procedure. And as for the baby, there are some studies that have shown some difficulty breathing, perhaps difficulties in beginning breastfeeding, and other challenges that can make it more difficult for the infant if a C-section is performed.
But why is it happening? Sometimes it's a patient's choice, either for scheduling purposes or for vanity reasons. But Schwimmer says another factor is a doctor's time and scheduling.
Having a C-section because the doctor wants to leave and he or she has been there for 10 hours and he or she wants to go home.
Schwimmer says it also comes down to money. That's why she says to improve C-section rates, you have to change the payment system.
Right now, there's a financial incentive to have higher C-section rates. So it's really taking away those financial incentives and putting in place financial incentives where hospitals and physicians are rewarded for having those better birth outcomes.
But there's something else women planning to have a baby in the state should be aware of, according to the report. New Jersey has the highest episiotomy rates in the country,
which is also an intervention that is done during labor to widen the birth canal. Many hospitals are significantly struggling with very high rates of this usually unnecessary procedure.
Roughly 3 weeks after Leapfrog's report was released, New Jersey hospitals, the New Jersey Department of Health, and New Jersey Hospital Association announced they would be collaborating for a statewide initiative to reduce non-medical C-section rates. The press release said all 49 hospitals that offer labor and delivery programs in the state agreed to participate, and they hope to see a 10% reduction in NTSV C-sections by next summer. For NJTV News, I'm Leah Mishkin.
Now some noteworthy facts that help you know Jersey. Distracted driving was involved in some 1.4 million motor vehicle accidents in New Jersey between 2004 and 2013. Camden is one of 21 New Jersey municipalities that has a combined sewer system taking in both wastewater and rainwater. 49 New Jersey hospitals provide labor and delivery services for expectant mothers, and the number of biotech patents introduced in New Jersey over the last 3 years topped 7,300, more than any other state. If there's someone who you'd like to get to know Jersey, share. Use hashtag KnowJersey. Tomorrow on NJTV News, legal sports betting's only a vote away. To share any story you've seen tonight, go to njtvnews.org. I'm Mary Alice Williams. For all the men and women of NJTV News, thanks for being here. See you tomorrow.
RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together. NJM Insurance Group, serving the insurance needs of New Jersey residents and businesses for more than 100 years. And Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, an independent licensee of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association.
PSE&G is building New Jersey's clean energy future. We're working to protect our network against extreme weather, expanding and upgrading transmission lines, and modernizing our natural gas system by installing new, more durable underground pipes. At PSE&G, our goal is to make sure you have the safe, reliable energy you need to power your life now and into the future.
In every county across the state,
I do like that Horizon is a Jersey company. It's almost like a sports team. For us, it's like ours.
in sickness and in health.
You never think it's going to happen to you, especially being so young. Horizon has been there for me through everything I've been through.
With experience and stability, we're behind you.
You know, we're hardworking people in New Jersey. Horizon gets us.